All right, guys, in today's video, I took the last 16 months. I have tried the top GLP-1s on the market, including Manjaro, Ozempic, Tirzepatide, Semaglutide, Zepbound. I tried all of them, okay? I did a full dose, got up to the max dose, did that for a month. And I wanted to go over my findings on this. So, what I want to do is I want to quickly just explain a couple of things that most people either have issues with or questions, concerns, etc., what my experience was and what it is. So basically, guys, first off, let's start with the simple explanation of what a GLP-1 is in reality. Okay, a GLP-1 in reality is a less invasive gastric bypass surgery. Okay. You don't have to go into the knife. You don't have this massive recovery. You don't have this crazy thing. It's basically a shot that's designed to eliminate your appetite, which, when essentially with a gastric bypass surgery, whether they do the sleeve or they do the whole, stomach resize, it's not the same. I've worked with, so for those of you guys who don't know my background, I own multiple gyms. I own a franchise company. I own a supplement company. I've been in the personal training space for over 20 years. My gyms are fat loss gyms. The three gyms that I currently own as corporate locations have produced over 500,000 pounds of fat loss just in Lee County, Florida alone. It's called PFIT if you want to go research it. My supplement company is called Weight Nutrition, WAYT Nutrition. If you want supplements or you want help that way and you don't live in Southwest Florida, you're welcome to go check those out just to verify that I'm not full of crap. Okay. That being said, what's the findings, right? And I've worked with gastric bypass surgeons who sent their clients to me directly to work with so that either they could get to the surgery or post surgery, I could teach them nutritional habits. And the number one thing that I want to tell you is no matter which drug I took, none of them produced a result because I was already eating healthy. Okay. None of them produced massive weight loss in me because I was already eating healthy, right? I was already, and by healthy, I mean I was eating a high protein diet. I was limiting my caloric intake. I maintain anywhere from 12 to 14% body fat at about 225 pounds. At 5'9". Okay, so I'm a natural bodybuilding champion. Obviously, I'm not natural anymore because I do take TRT. So full disclosure, I do not compete anymore or do anything like that. But my background is extensive. I've walked the walk. I've talked the talk. I've done all these things, and I don't talk about drugs unless I've taken them. All right. No, but for real. So I didn't want my clients to think that I was giving opinion. I wanted my clients to know that I was giving them experiential what I learned through the experience of taking all these things. And the number one thing across all of these drugs was basically no matter which one it was, it didn't really make me lose weight, right? And the main thing that these drugs do is they make you basically they make you have that full feeling. So when you eat, right, the faster you feel full and that you can't eat anymore, the faster you stop eating. Typically for people who are overweight, who these things are mainly prescribed for, right, is they eat too many calories and they don't expend enough calories. That is at the base level of science, right? So if you're consuming more than you're burning, you will gain weight. That is just how it works, okay? Now, we could get into a million different conversations of which calories are better, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, generic level one, burn more calories than you consume. This is the main focus of these drugs. Okay. Now, again, a lot of these drugs are too new to really know long-term side effects. We don't have any of those studies really yet. There are some coming out. I know there's people on both sides of this argument that have scare tactics both ways. I don't care about any of that. What I'm going to be giving you today is my experience of dealing with hundreds and hundreds of clients personally who take these drugs and myself, right? Now, again, you might be thinking, Aaron, if you own gyms, wouldn't you be opposed to these drugs? No, I want the result for the client. If this drug helps them, great. But here's the number one thing. If you have 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 pound overweight habits and you take this drug and you start, let's say, for example, this is a real example from someone who was in my family. They had gastric bypass surgery. After gastric bypass surgery, They said, well, now when I go through the McDonald's drive-through, I can only eat like a bite of the Big Mac and a couple of fries instead of the whole number one. And therein lies the problem. Is if you have fat people habits, this drug will not fix fat people habits. Okay. That is the number one thing. You have to change your eating style. And a lot of people also complain with these drugs that they have joint problems or that they lose all this muscle mass, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that may be true, but it's not from the drug, it's from the calories you consume. And again, this is my experience of dealing with hundreds of clients. So when I deal with clients, I treat them the exact same way I would treat a gastric bypass patient, which is eat your protein first, right? Because remember, if we're eating protein in high amounts and we're working out, we're probably not going to lose muscle, right? If we're working out hard and we're recovering our muscles and we're fueling them with protein so that they can recover, we're probably not going to lose muscle, okay? The number one thing with these drugs is because you don't eat enough protein, right? So whenever people are taking these drugs, the number one thing I tell them is eat your protein first, get your protein in, and then if you have room, then you can worry about fat and carbs and getting those calories up, right? The second thing is obviously when you're in a massive caloric deficit, your body can go into starvation mode, which basically means anything you feed it, it doesn't want to burn, it wants to store because it's not getting enough calories, okay? So these are the two main things. Again, it's the same thing with the joint problems, same thing with the ligament problems, is basically you're malnourished, right? And again, it comes from not eating. So do these drugs cause you to lose muscle mass? I don't think we will see studies that say that. I think what we will see is these drugs cause lack of appetite, which causes malnutrition, which then causes all of these things. So again, I should be against this, but in my estimation, if there's a band-aid that like it would be like trying to cure cancer, but like giving somebody a drug that made them feel great while getting chemo, right? Like they have to undergo this change. They have to undergo this struggle. They have to undergo this journey to fix the problem. But if we can make them feel better along the path, why would we be against that? Okay, and that's how I treat these drugs, right? I treat these drugs like supplements. The definition of supplement is in addition to. Do you need that pre-workout powder? Do you need that protein powder? No, you don't. But does it help solve problems simpler that people may struggle with? 100%. So that's these drugs. Now, if I have to rank these drugs, and again, the main ones I took were a generic semaglutide, a generic tirzepatide, Ozempic, and Mounjaro. Those were the four main ones. The Zepbound, I don't feel comfortable saying that I did this long enough to be able to explain it, so I'm going to delete this one off the list and focus on these four. By far, the one that eliminated my appetite the most was Mounjaro. Okay. And again, I was taking the 50 milligram dose or 50 milliliter dose, whatever it is, right? 0.5 mLs of all of these is my maximum dose. There's obviously going to be people who are in the comments arguing minutia. I'm just telling you my experience. I don't care what you say in the comments if you have some X, Y, or Z opinion on it. Okay, it doesn't matter to me. I'm telling you my experience from doing this for over 20 years with hundreds of clients and myself, and then my personal experience for the last 16 months. Okay, so your opinion's great, but I do the work. Okay. So that's what I'm sharing with you is the result of the work I did. And I didn't know what format I wanted to do this in. I chose to put it on YouTube, and I will be sharing this across all my socials because I want people to get the information that I have come up with through my experience, and hopefully it helps you. Now, are these drugs expensive? Yes. Are they going to get cheaper? Yes. Do I offer them in my gyms? No. Why? Because it doesn't cure the problem. Okay, it's a band-aid, but it does not cure the problem. So again, guys, if you want to understand this, this is what I'm talking about. I would rank them. Mounjaro was the best as far as appetite suppressant, then semaglutide, then tirzepatide, then Ozempic. Those were in my feelings and my journaled notes. That was what I felt was the most appetite suppressant of these four over the last 16 months. I did take a month off in between each cycle so that I could make sure that I was recovered and didn't like I wasn't going from 1 to 1 so that one was maybe less productive than the other. I did it the right way. I didn't taper off. The other thing that I see a lot of people do wrong, and this comes down to the doctor that you deal with, because remember, the doctors prescribing these are basically, pain pill, pain clinic people at this point. So just be careful. But the one thing that I have seen a lot of doctors do incorrectly is when they put people on these drugs, they don't taper them up. They put them straight onto the full dose. And that really messes with people. It makes them very nauseous. It makes them very sick. As a matter of fact, there's a new one that came out. I saw a commercial for that has Dramamine in it, I believe. And so that's an anti-nauseant, right? So basically, you can give people the full dose right off the rip, and it won't give them that nauseous feeling, which is fucked up. Okay, but again, that's neither here nor there. If it solves the problem and you guys want to sell it, awesome. I just wanted to give you my opinion, having done this for literally hundreds and hundreds of people, and my 20 plus years of experience in the industry. So hope this video helps you. Again, please like it. Please subscribe. Please comment. It all helps the algorithm. It really helps me get more views. Again, I don't do YouTube for a living, as Prefer mentioned, with all the businesses that I own, but I do want this information out there. I would love for this video to be pushed to people who need it and who can be helped by it. Again, I'm not shitting on any of these products. I'm not against any of these products. I just want to give you my experience from somebody who's a professional in the space and has been so for 2 decades. So hopefully this helps. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.